Good deal. First of all, thank you guys for coming. I appreciate you guys trekking over here, especially in that weather today, braving these elements. So appreciate you guys coming out. And then I told my daughter, Emily, I'd do this. I got to give her a shout out. She got me this cool Orca Chaser with MT on it to start the season. And it's a pretty good deal, so you ought to get one. But so I told Emily I'd give her a shout out for getting me this nice Orca cooler here. So we're 2 days into practice already. It's been 2 really good days. Like I said earlier, I like this team. I like the makeup of our team. I think we've got a great edge, a great sense of urgency about us, and really excited to coach this team these next few weeks here as we prepare for the opener against Vanderbilt. But we got some big holes that we got to fill from last year, some graduation that took place. But I like our players coming back in those positions. And then we've got some returning players at some other positions as well that we feel good about. So really excited about it. I like our coaching staff. There's 3 new coaches on the staff this year from last year. And I'm really pleased and happy where we are from a coaching standpoint. But really excited about this year. And again, I'm not going to sit up here and ramble, but I'll open it up to your questions.
You said that this team's got an edge this year. Is there anything specific kind of to describe the edge this team had going into the year?
Yeah, I think one, I think it's twofold. I think, you look at offensively last year, we did some really, really good things, put up some good numbers. And I think those returning guys that played last year, and then the new guys coming in, filling holes, they want to be better than what they were last year. There's no complacency. There's no sense of accomplishment. They want to keep getting better. They've got a great work ethic. And so I think that edge on offense is to improve and let's get better on what we did last year. And then defensively, and I've told our defense, I told our whole team this, that I felt we underachieved defensively last year. And when you give up, 40 points a game in conference play, it's hard to win games. And if we can just get a little bit better defensively, you can knock that down to 1 less touchdown a game. You're giving up 33 points a game. How much better can we be? Can you knock it down to 27, giving up 2 less? How much better can we be? So I think those guys on defense understand that. Oh, I know they understand that. But they've got to – that's their edge to prove that they're better than the product that we put on the field. And it's not their fault. It's my fault. So I'm not, blaming them or any sense, but – They've got an edge about themselves to prove that they're going to be a lot better than what we were last year.
Are you doing things differently from a schematic standpoint then to take advantage of the guys you have on defense, or do you just need better execution?
I think, one, it's going to start schematically. We're going to be a lot different than we were last year defensively from a schematic standpoint. I think we're doing things. I think we're a fast defense. I think we've got good speed on our defense at all positions. So we're going to do some things to try to take advantage of their athleticism and their speed. But it starts schematically. That's probably going to be the biggest change.
Have you guys seen some guys step up and start to fill some holes through the first 2 days of practice here?
On defense or on the – well, we lost, offensively, we lost 3 starters in the offensive line. And all 3 of those guys are going to be hard to replace because they were tough, physical, mentally tough, good football players. And so it's going to be tough to replace those guys. But I really feel good about the guys we're replacing them with. And will they be able to play up to those standards that those guys did before? We'll find out, but I got confidence in them that they will. But I think Pete Bohannon has got better and better in the spring. He had a good summer, and he's off to 2 good days so far of practice at center. So he's athletic, he's smart. So he's just got to do it. You know, he's played some, and but I've got a lot of confidence in Pete, and I think he'll have a good year for us. And then, you know, we lost Marquise at tackle and Josh Chester at tackle. You know, we got good competition going on at those positions, you know, with Connor Trent, Angelo Owens, Eric Golston. We got some guys competing, you know, for those jobs there. So, you know, I feel good about our guys that, you know, by the end of August that we're going to put a good offensive line up there. And then, obviously, we lost a lot of production from Octavius in the backfield. You know, we've got more depth at running back this year than we did last year, and we got good competition there. So I really feel good about that position. It may be, you know, 2 or 3 of those guys, you know, put up Octavius numbers. It may be just one guy. So, but Shane Tucker and Terrell West and Des Anderson and Maurice Gordon are guys, 4 really good players that are competing out there. And we got our receivers back. We lost Dennis Andrews, but we got most of our receivers back. So those are the holes offensively. And then defensively, you know, we lost the entire front, but the guys behind them have played. You know, with, you know, Tyshawn Renders played. You know, Walter Brady didn't play here, but he played at Missouri. Malik Mansell's played. We got good players up there. We've got to do a good job. We got a couple new guys coming in, and then we got to develop some depth. And then I think our linebacker core, you know, has got a chance to be a strength of our defense. And then I like our back end. So I guess to fill the holes, I feel good about where we are after 2 days.
Last 2 seasons, you've had some freshmen step out. I don't know if they surprised you, but they certainly surprised the fan base. Guys like Richie and Ty. Is there any freshmen that you've seen maybe through spring or through the first 2 days of practice that you think could surprise us again?
Well, you know, it's too early right now to say anything about a freshman because they've had 2 practices and they've both been in shorts. But I like all our freshmen that we signed, and I think a couple of the receivers are going to have a chance to contribute early. I think those offensive linemen are going to be really good players, whether they continue to develop once the pads go on. But potentially there's a lot of potential there, and we'll just see if they can develop. And then, you know, there's some good young kids on the other side of the ball too on defense. You know, at the linebacker position, DQ Thomas and you know, Tavares Thomas at linebacker. He's not a high school. He's a junior college kid, but he just got here. So we got some young guys over there on that side, new guys that will have a better idea how much they can contribute once we put on pads and the grind of August practice, how they hold up mentally takes place.
With the running backs, is there one who's working with the ones first couple days, or are you rotating those guys?
Yeah, you know, when you send the ones out, somebody's got to go. And right now, Terrell West is with the ones. Shane Tucker's with the 2s. Des Anderson's with the 3s, and Maurice is with the 4s. But, you know, one part of the practice, Maurice may be with the 1s. Shane may be with the 1s. Terrell may be with the 3s. So they're all getting a lot of work. They're getting a lot of reps. And I said this earlier today that when we started camp this time last year, Octavius was 3rd team. So he came out of spring practice as the 3rd team running back. But he had a phenomenal summer. He had a great camp, and he worked his way into number 1. So we don't play for, you know, a few more weeks. We got time to let the competition and that sort itself out. But right now, when the 1s go out there, Terrell goes, but they're all working with the 1s.
You talked about a guy like Davis. Is that a good kind of message to send the rest of the guys behind him? Is, hey, look at this guy having played with him, and now he's at the NFL level.
Yeah, you know, we talk about, you know, Octavius is a great example. You know, he's came in here with a lot of hype, so to speak, because he's a local product and, a transfer coming from the SEC. And, he had a lot to prove and he had a lot to improve on and to develop his skill set as a running back. And he did that. And just because you're second team today or third team today doesn't mean you can't be first team tomorrow. Just because you're first team today doesn't mean you can't be third team tomorrow. So every day you got to prove it. You got to earn everything you get. There's no entitlement, no sense of entitlement. Just because I did it yesterday doesn't mean I get to do it again today.
Like Richie James has put up big numbers for a couple of years. See in a position where you can do more with him in the offense now and sort of take advantage of teams scouting him and thinking, well, he does A, B, and C. Now you can give him D, so to speak.
Yeah, that's a great question. And if you look at it, his freshman year, he caught 110 balls, and, we used him in some jet sweeps and, and then in the passing game. And then last year, when Brent got hurt, we moved him back there, and he was kind of the wildcat quarterback, certain situations, a couple games. So yeah, we have moved him around a little bit, and now being his third year, now we can do even a little bit more with him on that. So there are going to be different areas that we can use, Richie and some of our other players also.
Unique is he that way that he can do a whole lot of different things for you?
I don't know if it's the uniqueness of it, but he's such a dynamic athlete. He's a really good player. He's a good athlete. And most of the time when you're a good athlete, you can do more than one thing. And Richie's a smart player, so that enables you to, put him at there, the wildcat quarterback, or that enables you to put him, at a slot receiver on this play. And, now he's a tight end on the next play, so just his athleticism and then just his intelligence level gives you a chance to do more things with him.
Coach, is this Brent's team?
No, this is Middle Tennessee's football team. And no team is based around one player. And, it's Brent's a good player. He's a great leader for us. And he'll be the first to tell you that he couldn't do what he's done without Chandler and those guys up front, the guys beside him, behind him. Richie's not going to catch 100 balls a year unless he's got somebody that can throw it to him and somebody that can protect long enough for Brent to throw it. So it's a team game, defense, offense, kicking. I know it's cliche, but, it's not I don't look at it as, this is Brent's team or anybody's one individual player's particular team.
Are there any parts of his game that he needs to improve that?
Brent? Yeah, I think every player can improve every year in what he's, really good at, continue to work at that, and continue to get better at it. He was our second leading rusher last year when he got hurt. And, so I think that's an area where he might be able to contribute more to this offense is from a running standpoint. He threw 31 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Let's try to cut those interceptions down to you want to have 0, but cut it down to, 4 or 5, 3 or 4, see if you can do that. So, and I just the older you get, there's always something you can improve, and the day you stop improving is the day you stop living. So, but I think a couple of areas, are that.
He's had a couple of injuries, but is there anything you can do to keep him out of harm's way?
No, you can. I mean, that's part of playing football. It's a violent game, and you guys watch him play. He's going to give you, give you his all, whether it's handing the ball off or going to make a tackle or blocking for a running back. He plays football the way you want to play it. And I've always said this about players: you'd rather say whoa than sick 'em. You got that dog that you got to go, hey, sick him, that dog ain't gonna hunt. You know, you got to say whoa. You want to back them off, and I like players that you got to say whoa to, and Brent's one of those. So, you know, it's part of the game, and you know, it's unfortunate when players get hurt, and but no, we're not gonna. He wouldn't let us do it anyway if we said, you know, get what you can get and get down. That goes in one ear and out the other.
And close a bunch of times. What's this program have to do to get a conference championship?
One, I think, you know, obviously we got to play better defense. I've always, you know, you guys have always heard it. You know, you win championships with your defense, and you know, I think that's where it starts. And if we can play better defensively this year and continue to improve offensively and in the kicking game, you know, I think in November when the dust settles, we'll have a chance to compete for it.
Eric Walton signed for the Titans. That makes 3 players, I think, for you that are playing for the Titans right now. How special is that for you to have them right up the road?
You know, it's special to me because I'm happy for them, you know, and everybody that comes here or wherever they go to college, that's a lifelong dream, is to play in the NFL, and they get to, you know, realize their dream. And 3 great ambassadors of Middle Tennessee, and couldn't be happier for Eric and Jimmy and KB over there. And I told Coach Malarkey that he's going to love coaching, you know, Jimmy and Eric, because they're tough, hard-nosed, tough, hard workers that, you know, care about the team. And I'm just happy for those guys.
Coach, now that you're firmly entrenched in the second decade of the Stockstill legacy, are things better than they've ever been here as far as talent level and opportunities and all that good stuff?
Yeah, you know, we've got a really good team. I like our players. I like the culture of our team. I like the leadership of our team. I like our coaching staff. You know, you're never satisfied. You always want more. We need some things, you know, but I never look at it as, you know, is this as good as it gets or anything like that, because I'll say the same thing next year. You know, you always want more. And but I like our team. I think our talent level is good. And like I said, I love our coaching staff. We got great coaches, you know, and just anxious to play this season.
You know, last year this time you said, why not us? Same thing here?
Well,
Is that the mentality, why not us? We can do it?
yeah, you know, these guys, I'm sorry to cut you off, but these guys have always believed that. They've always believed, you know, and this team believes. And now we got to go out and prove it, you know. And, you know, we tried last year, and, you know, we were going there pretty good, and we had some people get hurt, and it hurt us a little bit. I like the toughness of our program because these guys, every team is going to be faced with adversity every year. Something's going to happen. And these guys have always handled it really well. They've never flinched. And so when adversity hits, we've always been able to handle it. And I think this team, by the time we tee it up for the first game, you know, we'll have, you know, a pretty good idea of our identity and how we're going to handle things this year.
Coach, I think you tweeted last night that they thanks for all the concern. I'm fine. Is it too soon, or have you had any chance to reach out to get any more info on how he's feeling?
Yeah, I called him yesterday and didn't get him, and then I texted him, and then he texted me back and, you know, said how he was doing, everything. So we've communicated through text. He was still in the hospital yesterday. He may be out today. I haven't talked to him today, but I think he's doing good, according to what he said, unless, you know, something happened, you know, since yesterday afternoon. But I told our team yesterday that he was doing good, and then, you know, like I said, it's a violent sport, and it's unfortunate, but I'm just thankful that he's okay.
How deep in the camp before you start doing some Vanderbilt stuff?
You know, we'll start. We've done a little bit. Even the first 2 days, you know, we'll play around with, 5 or 10 minutes a day. But usually our plan has always been, 10 days out, before the first game is when we'll really hone in on your first opponent. But we'll dabble in, every day we'll get, 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes of a segment here, a segment there in preparation for Vandy. But, then the last 10 days or the 10 days prior to the game. Attendance has been a bit of a constant struggle, as far as I know, ever since you've been here, at least. How important is that attendance to the players and to the winning the game, and what more can we do to get that up? Well, it's important to me, and it's important to the players. Football is not a fun sport to practice, okay? Basketball, you're in T-shirts and shorts and you're in a gym. You're not worrying about the rain. Out there shooting. Baseball, you're shagging fly balls, having fun. Football, you're running your 300-pound body into another man's 300-pound body 6 days a week. So your reward is that one game on Saturday. So that's the celebration. You want to celebrate all that work. And you want to come out and see a packed house. You want to play in front of, in this case, 30,000 people. So it's important to those players. It's important to me. It's important to this university. It helps in so many ways. So I'm hopeful, and I say it every year, I'm hopeful this year, this is the year that we sell out the stadium, not one time, but all 6 times. And, so it's important, and we need it because our players are heavily involved in the community. They do a lot in the community, and, it would be nice for them to come out of that tunnel and see a packed house on September 2nd and September 23rd. That's the second home game. So good.